What's up guys, Placid5 here, and today we're going to be doing another tier list. Now, before you get alarmed, I know there's a bunch of actors on the screen right now, but I'm going to be doing these in parts. So this particular list has 140 actors, but I'm only going to be doing the first row, and if this video does good and you guys want to see more, I will do all the other rows as well, to avoid making like a 24-hour video. So, I'm going to be rating a lot of these based off of three different criteria. First criteria is going to be acting ability, of course. How good of an actor are they? Second is career. What's their track record look like? Do they have a bunch of good movies? Do they always hold it down? Or do they have some that are bad and not so good, and some that are really good? And then the third criteria I'm going to be working with is my personal opinion. Do I like them as an actor? Do they speak to me? Do I like them or not, basically? And I would love to hear your guys' kind of tier list and what you disagree with, what you agree with. So, before I get started, please be sure to hit that sub button, hit that notification, and comment below, please. I love to hear all the feedback. I love to hear your guys' personal opinions and tastes. It's always great to see. So thank you for all the support. As with all tier lists, I'm going to be putting each of these somewhere between S and F. S is going to be superior, amazing. S is the best of the best. And F down here is the worst of the worst, horrible. And then we have everything in between. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. So first off, we have Keanu Reeves. Now, Keanu Reeves is known for being in a wide variety of movies, everything from comedies to actions to drama movies to basically everything in between. We have The Matrix, Speed, John Wick, Point Break, Bill and Ted, Toy Story. He's just been in a lot of things. He is predominantly known for being a friendly and nice guy behind the scenes. Great to work with, great guy. I really like him, honestly, as a person. I think that he hasn't let the fame or ego get to him, and that's super rare nowadays when it comes to a lot of emerging stars or stars like Keanu Reeves that have been in the limelight for the longest time and have every right to be a certain way, but they're not. They're very human, and I do appreciate that. So a lot of respect to Keanu Reeves for that. Now let's talk about his acting, though. I think that there are a few movies where Keanu Reeves really shines. I think he's great as Neo in The Matrix. I think he's really good in Speed. He has his moments in John Wick, but see, this is where we start to get to the territory where I find his acting to sometimes be more cringe or harder to watch than actually impressive. So, in John Wick 4 and some of the other ones, especially when they give him one-liners and stuff like that, I do believe that Keanu Reeves he does struggle. I feel like he struggles in quite a bit of the roles that I see him in, but not always. That's the thing, though. It's a little bit inconsistent with that because he has great roles, and then he has roles where I'm kind of cringing throughout because of the delivery or the role. It's almost like he's struggling to say the lines, unfortunately, and it doesn't hold up. So again, I really like Keanu Reeves as an actor, but looking at the track record, he's had good movies, he's had not so good ones as far as performance is concerned. So with all that being said, I think that Keanu Reeves, I'm going to be putting him in the C tier, C plus. I love movies that he's in. I love The Matrix and everything, but I just think that he hasn't shown me enough to be like, okay, he's a great actor. Next we have Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is known for his comedic chops. He is known for stand-up. Everybody knows him. I think that as a stand-up comedian, he's hilarious. I've cracked up at his specials more than the average comedian. I think he's amazing. He's got high energy. He's amazing at telling stories and everything like that. So how does that translate to his acting? So as a comedic actor, I think he's pretty solid. I think he's pretty good. The problem that I have with a lot of his movies, though, like, there's Ride Along, Central Intelligence, Jumanji, movies like that. The problem I have is that he does rely on a lot of the same tropes and same sort of performance styles in every single one of his movies. It's hard to kind of differentiate one from another. So essentially, he plays the same character kind of in every single movie in a way. And it doesn't help that a lot of movies that he does have are buddy cop movies, like alongside Ice Cube or alongside The Rock, right? Or alongside like Bryan Cranston, or it's always like a duo type movie. I see him in a lot of movies like that. and a lot of time he's playing the same character essentially, and it is a kind of an iteration of himself. So because of that, I do have to take off points. And as much as he does bring a, the same Kevin Hart-esque, style, it is unique and it is funny. And again, high energy, very clever, very animated and everything. But it has its moments. It is funny. But the fact that when it comes to more serious roles, I haven't seen too much of that. I can't really recall any moments where I'm like, okay, yeah, wow, that was really good, So as an actor, I think Kevin Hart's okay. So I think I'm going to also put him in the C tier. I think he's all right. Next, we have Will Smith, a behemoth of an actor, has been around for so long. TV, movies, you name it, he's been around. I Am Legend, Pursuit of Happiness, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on TV, Men in Black, I, Robot, King Richard. He's just been in so many movies. And I think that he is a classic actor as it comes down to it. He has an incredible range. He's been in comedies, he's been in action movies, he's been in drama movies, biopics, you name it, he's been a part of. And I think that with every single role, even terrible movies like The Wild West, right? Wild Wild West, or stuff like that, he holds it down. Even when the material's not that great, he still acts to the best of his ability, and it usually is really good. And I think even in movies like Pursuit of Happiness, where it's very emotional, or I Am Legend, where he's predominantly alone in I Am Legend, you can't help but feel like he is his character. And because of the fact that he's sort of shape-shifted throughout the years into all these different characters and always ends up holding it down, he is a really good actor. So because of that, because of his track record, even though there has been a few duds in it, I think he always does hold it down. So as far as that's concerned, I think Will Smith is a great actor. So I'm going to be putting him up at the A- tier. Next up, we have Matt Damon, another actor who has been around for quite some time. He's in one of my personal favorite movies, Good Will Hunting, The Departed, also another excellent movie, the Bourne series, The Martian, Ford vs. Ferrari. I mean, you name, he's been in a lot of movies as well. While he isn't per se as much movies as he's been in and as popular as he is and well known, it's tough to. Oh, he was also in Oppenheimer. I must add as well. I forgot he was just in that one as well. Now, as popular as he is, I think that when it comes to when you're talking about who's the best of the best, typically Matt Damon doesn't get mentioned in that discussion. Now, of course, I know that's an extremity. As far as his individual performances go, I think that he is a very good actor. I think that he always holds it down in his own regard, and he too has shapeshifted into a lot of different roles, especially the more emotional roles. I feel like not a lot of actors can do the same kind of level of intensity that he has in emotional scenes and really sell it. And in movies like Good Will Hunting or Departed or Oppenheimer, any of these movies where he is very much channeling an emotional sort of aspect, I think he does a great job. So, I don't think I've ever seen a movie where I thought, okay, Matt Damon wasn't great in that, or I didn't think that he did very good in it. He's just one of those actors. So, because of that, I think that I'm going to be putting Matt Damon at the B+ tier. I still would like to see more from him. I think that certain roles that he could take on that would really shoot him up even further in his career, because he's had a great career and he's super well known. He is. I mean, he's very successful. I'm just saying, I still think there's more he can do for sure. Next, we have Christian Bale. Christian Bale's known for the Dark Knight series, American Psycho, The Fighter, The Prestige, American Hustle, Ford vs. Ferrari. He's been in so many movies, and he's one of those actors that has been in the game since he's been a kid. He was working with Spielberg even back when he was a little kid, and is still holding it down. To be honest, I think that Christian Bale is one of the best modern-day actors that we have. I think that the things that he's done to commit to roles is absolutely amazing, along with holding it down, too. This guy has been in so many different movies where he's had to shape-shift his entire body, getting really big, really fat, or super skinny to the point of like an unhealthy level of skinniness, all the way to bulking up for The Dark Knight. It's just it's been a roller coaster, but the commitment that he has to his roles, along with and the complexities of a lot of his roles too. Like American Psycho is such a complex character that he plays, but he's so good in it. And every single movie I see this guy in, he absolutely holds it down. He absolutely nails it. It comes effortless. Like, he just channels the character. I think that he's one of the best modern day actors, to be honest. And the fact that he's been around, and again, he's also another actor where I'm like, I can't think of a movie that I've seen him in that I thought, wow, he wasn't that good in it, or like Christian Bale could have done more there. It's like he holds it down. He totally holds it down every time. So for me, Christian Bale, definitely, I think I'm going to put him in the S tier. His career and his commitment to his roles absolutely just deserves it. Next up, we have John Boyega. He is predominantly known for the most recent trilogy of Star Wars, the Star Wars trilogy that ended a couple of years ago. You know, the one with Daisy Ridley, that series of Star Wars. Now, he's also been in a few other movies. He was on Pacific Rim. He was in Detroit. To be honest, he hasn't been in that many movies. I feel like there's a lot more that he can prove to the screen other than the Star Wars, which he is known mainly for. So, judging by what I've seen him in that movie and a few others, I think that Boyega is a good actor. I think that there's a lot more that he could do. Granted, he wasn't given the greatest character in Star Wars, especially, you know, later on in the second, third one. They did with the characters, well, it didn't really help his case. But I haven't seen too much of him to be able to really give him a really high score and think, wow, that was an amazing performance. I think he was really good in those movies. I think as an character actor, I think he was good, but yeah, I just haven't been super blown away by anything from him. So because of that merit, I am going to be putting him in the C tier. I think that's fair. I can't really put him any higher. I'd have to see more in order to really justify a higher score, and I'm not going to put him lower. That wouldn't be fair to him. So next up, we have Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, of course, we all know him from everyone's favorite, never-dying action franchise, the Fast and the Furious movies. Always talking about family. And then we have Groot. He plays Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, he's in movies like The Pacifier or random Triple X, Chronicles of Riddick. He's been around since the early 2000s. Really, that's when he really got his stardom, and he's been pretty much in the game mainly for the Fast and Furious series and Groot and stuff. So he's been in big blockbusters. The thing with Vin Diesel is never been super impressed by his performances. I don't really see anything crazy in the Fast and Furious movies. I mean, they've basically become comedies, but he's not particularly a bad actor, and I'm not saying that, but I wouldn't say he's a great actor either. He's somewhere in between when the movies that he's been in. Like, I can't even judge him for Groot, playing Groot, right? Like, that's just him saying one word in the studio. I'm not saying it's easy to voice act. I'm not discrediting it, but come on. Those characters, I don't know what they're called, but the ones that say one word, that's their stick. I can't really give you too much credit for that, but the ones I've seen him when he's actually talking, he's okay. He's actually not a bad comedic actor either. I think that he could be good with that. But yeah, again, nothing that amazing. So I'm going to be putting Vin Diesel at the C tier. C-, bordering on the D. Alright, next up we have Chris Tucker, another comedic actor. Now, Chris Tucker is mainly known for his buddy cop series, the Rush Hour series, along with Silver Linings Playbook. He was just an Air this year. I think that Chris Tucker is actually a very underrated comedic actor. I think he brings a lot of energy and a lot of charm and charisma to the screen as a comedic actor. I think he does a great job at having chemistry with his counterparts. So usually with Jackie Chan or with Bradley Cooper or anybody that he's across from. He does do a great job at creating that kind of chemistry and being that kind of wild card, but in a funny way. Now, granted, he hasn't been in too many things, to be honest. If you look at his overall career, he's been in a lot of movies, but not super notable ones other than like the Rush Hour series and some of those. So you can count on one hand kind of the movies that he's really been prominent and known for. So because of that, I think he is kind of underrated in a way. From what I've seen, he has made me laugh, and again, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to like really make me laugh in movies, but he has such a high energy and he's funny. He's so animated. So as a comedic actor, I think he's really good, but I think he has a lot also to still bring to the table. So I think in the track record department, I would like to see actually more from him. I feel like he would also be good in a more serious role if given the chance. Yeah, I think that he is an underrated comedic actor. So I'm going to be putting Chris Tucker at the B tier. Next up, we have Michael Caine. He's been in 174 movies and counting. Most likely he's really up there, but he's been around for so long. He's really just a classically trained actor, to be honest. I was watching this little video of him kind of teaching acting to some younger students back in the day when it was a long time ago, and it was fascinating to see him at work and how much he knew about acting and everything. And you can really see it in the catalog of movies that he's been in. From action movies, he's been in the Dark Knight series, Austin Powers, The Prestige, a lot of comedy movies alongside people like Morgan Freeman or Alan Arkin or all those. He's just been around, and he with the 174 movies under his belt, obviously he's been in a few that haven't been that great. He's been in duds before for sure, but that's gonna happen when you've been in that many movies. But as far as the performance go, even in movies that are bad, like Jaws, which is just Jaws 3, like The Revenge, it's historically known for being a bad movie, but he holds it down. He always acts from the heart, that you could tell how much sort of emotion and charm that he brings to a lot of his roles. And again, every time I've seen him, he's always held it down to some degree. So I think he's a classic actor. Again, he's typically never the main character. As far as more modern day movies go, he's never been he's the lead. You know what I mean? He's always part of a group, or he's alongside somebody, or he's like Alfred in Dark Knight, stuff like that. But with all that being said, I think that, yeah, he's just a classic actor. He's really good. So I'm going to be putting Michael Caine at A-. I think that's fair. Next up, we have Chris Rock. Chris Rock is another comedic actor. He's been in movies like Madagascar, the Grown Up series, Top 5, Death at a Funeral, and more serious roles like Fargo and Spiral, the Saw movie that came out a couple of years ago. He's been in quite a bit of movies. He's been around, but he's, again, mainly known for being a comedy actor, or he's mainly known for being a stand-up comic as well. He's a comic before he's an actor, along with a lot of comedic actors that usually start off in stand-up and stuff like that. As a comedian, I do like him. I think he's smart. He has a lot of good jokes, and he's been around for so long now. And he's really trenched over many different sort of titles and stuff like that. But as far as an actor goes, I've never been super impressed. I've never been blown away by any of his acting skills, to be honest with you. I think that he holds it down as a comedic actor. I think he's okay. I think he's good in Madagascar, pretty good in Fargo and stuff, but I don't know. He's never really blown me away, to be completely honest. I think that there's a lot that he could do still. I think that if I saw more of him, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. In a movie like Spiral, where he was playing the lead, they gave him a lead role. It was a miscast. He was really bad in it. Granted, the movie was just terrible. The writing was horrible. Spiral was terrible. But he wasn't good in it, though. He didn't sell it at all. And it could be the writing, but I can't really fully always blame it on other factors. When it comes to the actor, they also need to hold it down as best they can if they're going to accept the role. So yeah, Chris Rock he's okay. As an actor, he's alright. So I'm going to be putting him in the C tier. And kind of in the same vein, to be honest, we have Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler he's a classic comedy actor in movies like Waterboy, Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Singer, but he's also done more serious roles like Punch Drunk Love, Uncut Gems, and movies in that realm. So, personally, when it comes to Adam Sandler, I've found him to be a little annoying at times as far as his acting. I'm not super fond, or I don't find it super funny, like the more childish kind of like making noises sort of humor that he has. He's been in a lot of movies where it's sort of like a getaway kind of thing, and he's all right in those. I mean, again, when it comes to like movies like Happy Gilmore or The Wedding Singer or stuff like that, it's like, as a comedic actor, it's not bad. It's not my cup of tea when it comes to that kind of style of comedy. So, but, with all that being said, I was not completely sold on him. And then I saw more of his serious roles, and To be honest with you, I think that Adam Sandler is an amazing, like, serious actor. It was really blew me away, to be honest, when I saw Punch Drunk Love and Uncut Gems. Those two movies sold me on the fact that this guy actually is a great actor. He is so good. In both those movies, he blew me away. He encompassed the character so well. I'd never seen that side of Adam Sandler. This sort of side where it's, and again, you see little glimpses in some of his movies, like you see it in Click, right, or like movies like that, where yeah, there's little glimpses. You know, there's glimpses of The Wedding Singer. There's glimpses where he's more emotional and stuff, and not even emotional, just more serious, right? There's parts like that, but these movies, both of them in particular, and some of the other ones that he's done that are more serious, he's blown me away in them. Honestly, they took a chance on him and it paid off. He's so good actually as a more serious actor. So because of that, I actually was sold on him afterwards. Like, I thought, this guy's great. Honestly, I think he deserves a lot of awards for both of those movies. It's not easy what he did. So Adam Sandler, I'm gonna be putting him at the A tier. Next, we have Adam Driver. Adam Driver has been in a lot of movies recently, more modern movies. He's more of an up-and-comer actor. He's been a lot, but it's just been about in the last decade that he's really gained a big following and a big startup. He's been in Star Wars as Kylo Ren. He's in Marriage Story, Black Klansman, House of Gucci, Patterson, Logan Lucky. He's been around a lot of the time playing more side characters or side things, but I think that Adam Driver has a very unique acting style. He plays very unique characters. He does have a vibe to him that you root for him, or that you really feel for him. And I don't know what it is. Some actors just have that, and I think that Adam Driver is one of those people. Alongside, you know, I do respect him off screen as well, but past that, I think that when he's on the screen, he does bring this level of commitment, a likability. That's the word, likability. Like, I think he's great in Marriage Story. Totally blows out of the park in that movie. Honestly, he's good. I don't like Kylo Ren that much as a character, as a villain. He does. Adam Driver does a great job though as him, but I didn't really like the character that much. But yeah, I just think that he brings a good sort of like human likability. It feels authentic when he's on the screen. He's been in a couple of duds, but I think Adam Driver's really good. I think he's definitely proven himself to be a very solid either supporting actor or lead actor, depending on who you ask. So, you know, because of that, I think I'm going to be putting Adam Driver at A-. I think that feels right. Next we have, I don't know, maybe you guys have heard of this guy. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. He has been around since the 90s, essentially. That's when he really gained his big stardom in movies like Titanic and Catch Me If You Can. And then he's been around and he's been active since then in movies like Django Unchained, The Wolf of Wall Street, The Revenant. So many movies that he's been a part of, and, you know, Don't Look Up. That was 2 years ago or a year ago, whenever that came out. To be honest with you, I personally think that Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the greatest actors that we've ever had. I'm going to go out and say it. I think that he is a fantastic actor. Through and through. It's a master. He's a master in his field. The way he channels characters, and all the movies I just named are drastically different from each other too. We have a biopic, we have an action movie, we have a survival movie. We have these movies that are just completely different from each other. The Departed, it's like the list goes on Shutter Island, on and on the list goes, and every single movie I've seen him in, he totally knocks it out of the park. He is goated. Not gonna lie, he's goated. So, you know, I'm not even going to spend too much time on him. He is an incredible actor. So, Leonardo DiCaprio, S tier, no question. Speaking of total knockouts, we have Sylvester Stallone. Rocky, he's known for the Rocky role. That's his main role, as Rocky. Rambo, the Rambo movies, The Expendables. Those are predominantly really what he's known for. And he's in a bunch of action movies. As well as that, he's been involved in other things as well. Personally, I think that Sylvester Stallone is really good in Rocky. I think he's really good in Rambo. I think that when it comes to more emotional, grittier kind of broken characters, I think he's good. I think he does a really good job. I was sold as him as Rocky, especially in the newer movies, and his Creed. Personally, I haven't seen him, and you see him in movies like Judge Dredd and other movies. He's been around. He has. He's been in quite a bit of movies. But from what I've seen, I think he's pretty good. I don't think he's incredible, and he can be it can be a struggle sometimes getting some of the lines out in some of the movies and being believable. But ultimately, he's not bad. I think that I would put him in the B tier. I think that's fair for Sylvester Stallone. Next up, we have Harvey Keitel, another actor who has been around for quite some time. You might recognize him from plenty of movies such as Reservoir Dogs. He's in Pulp Fiction. He's in National Treasure. He's in The Irishman. Yeah, he's been around the scene. You've seen him. I think Harvey Keitel really holds it down in a lot of the movies that he's in. He plays the right-hand man, kind of, in a lot of movies. The Fixer. He plays a fixer in Pulp Fiction. He plays a cop character. He's good at that. I think he is a little pigeon-held when it comes to the way he acts in things. I haven't seen anything from him that's absolutely just blows me away, or something that I'm left kind of saying he's totally just absolutely like knocked it out of the park. It's amazing, and that typically has to do with a lot of the fact that he doesn't really play main characters as much, as other things, as other actors. He hasn't played as many main characters when it comes to that, but would love to see more from him. But when it comes down to it, I never have been disappointed, I guess, in the way that he's acted or anything like that. So personally, I'm going to be putting Keitel in the B minus tier. Next up, we have Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt has been in a lot of movies as well. Fight Club, Moneyball, Babylon, Inglourious Basterds, the Ocean movies, Seven, Burn After Reading, etc. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's been around the scene for so long now. And apart from his good looks that he's known for, he is a very good actor, actually. I think especially his older movies, that's where he really shines for me. Just really sells the screen, and playing like Tyler Durden and Fight Club and stuff like that, or like, he does a great job. He honestly does an excellent job of playing those characters, and there was a time when I thought Brad Pitt, I wasn't super impressed, and that was more a modern time. I think, like, when I saw him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, wasn't super blown away. I didn't see anything from him there. Kind of just cruising through it, and he holds it down, but I didn't see anything that crazy. But then I did see him in Babylon recently. That came out after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I thought he was great in that. I thought he was super charming and super well acted character for sure. Playing an whole old Hollywood star. I recommend watching the movie, and check out the analysis that we made of that movie. I would suggest checking that out. But I think that Brad Pitt was great in that movie. So again, he's had a long career. He has some of the movies I think he could act better in, to be honest. But I think he does really hold it down for a lot of the time. Like, I'm talking 90% of the movies I've seen him in, he typically holds it down. So I'm going to be putting Brad Pitt A minus. I think that's a good place to put him. Moving along, another person that was also in Fight Club, but we don't talk about that, is Edward Norton. He was in American History X, Primal Fear, Birdman. You may have just seen him in the newest Knives Out 2, which came out late last year. Edward Norton is a very also unique actor as well. Like, all the movies I just named are drastically different from each other as well. From a villainous role to a good guy. He's had a long array of different, playing both protagonists and antagonists. Do I believe that he is as good as some of the other people on this list? Not particularly, but I have seldomly thought that Edward Norton did a bad job. Now, I've been ultimately satisfied with a lot of the roles that he's been in. I wouldn't say that I've been super impressed. I think that he does kind of like have a good level-headed acting style for sure, and he does hold it down. But truthfully, I haven't really been super blown away from Edward Norton a lot of the time. I've never left saying, wow, he was incredible in that movie, or something like that. I think he's good. I think he has really good roles, but sometimes doesn't translate super well sometimes. I think Edward Norton is a solid B minus, B plus. Somewhere around there. I give him a straight B. That's right in the middle. That feels good. All right, we have 4 more remaining. So if you made it this far on the video, thank you very much. So next up, we have Tom Holland. Tom Holland, of course, is well known mainly for his role in Spider-Man, but he's also been around in a couple of other movies as well. When he was younger, he was in The Impossible, the movie about the tsunami with Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor. He was in a Russo brothers movie called Cherry, and he was also in Onward, and he was also in Uncharted as well. I believe that's the newest movie he's been in, Uncharted. He was also been in some series as well. As Spider-Man, the first couple of movies that I saw him in, I did find him to be a little annoying, but again, that was the character itself. I can't fully blame Tom Holland. He seems like a nice kid and everything outside of the movie, and he does a good job at playing that Spider-Man. I'm just, again, I'm not judging his acting. I'm judging the character, what they decided to do with the character. But I'm saying the first two. The final No Way Home, I thought was an incredible movie, and I think that Tom Holland as Spider-Man in that movie was amazing. I thought that the level of emotion and the level of acting that he really came around. So I think that Tom Holland is particularly underrated. I feel like there's a lot he still has going for him. I would like to see him in more, maybe grittier, like something more outside of the box. I would like to see him in it, because I feel like, especially like in a movie like The Impossible when he was much younger, he played a great role in that, as you could really sense how scared he was, and that's acting. So again, I think that when I do see him, he's really good in movies. But, as Uncharted, I didn't really wasn't convinced of as him as Nathan Drake. I wasn't fully convinced. I thought that was a bit of an oversight. I just think I would like to see more from him. I think he's really good, but there's still more to be done with him. I'm going to be putting him at the B tier. I think that's pretty fair. But again, I would like to see more. Next, we have Nicolas Cage. Yes, the classic Nick Cage. Face Off, National Treasure, Leaving Las Vegas, Pig, Ghost Rider, Con Air, Wicker Man, etc., etc. This guy's been in so many movies, it's actually kind of crazy. I can't even name them all. A lot of lower budget, big budget, blockbusters, you name it, he's been part of. And we're talking comedies, we're talking dramas, horror movies, like you name it, he's been a part of it. And with that, there's also been a slew of not so good movies that he's been in. So with Nicolas Cage, it's always been a conundrum to me, Nick Cage. I see him in some movies, I'm like, he acted good in that. But it's weird because in the movies where I think he acted good in, there's some parts of the movie where he doesn't act good in. There's parts where he does, and there's parts where he doesn't. And he's a bit of a meme. People love Nick Cage because he's crazy. It's the crazy Nick Cage people come to see, and it sells tickets, and it definitely, I get it. It's so out there, it's so different than a lot of other actors because of the crazy roles that he takes on, and because there's a slew of movies that he's been in where he's either losing his mind or it's just so out there, and he's usually part of them. So, I commend that, and he definitely, you can tell he enjoys it. That's what he likes. Likes getting in their crazy movies or trying out these characters and just getting engulfed in them. So, I think as that goes, I do think that it's very impressive, the catalog that he's had and how he jumps into those movies. But there's been quite a bit of movies where I haven't thought that he's acted the best, to be honest. It's really a toss-up. Again, when we're talking about somebody who's been in the industry for that long and how many movies he's been in, it's tough. So, I don't know. I think because of everything I said, it's tricky. It's tricky. I don't know whether to put him in the B tier or the C tier. I'm going to be if I could put him somewhere in between this, I would. I'm going to put Nick Cage in the B minus tier. I think he's right in the middle. It's like, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad. It's a toss-up. So I'm going to be putting him right in the middle, B minus. Next up, we have Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell has been in 103 movies since he started acting. Escape from LA, The Hateful Eight, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, The Thing. He's been in so many movies. I think Kurt Russell, I really thought he's great in The Thing. He's really good in Guardians of the Galaxy. He has a really good look to him. I feel like he has that sort of cool older guy kind of look. He just hasn't been in the limelight that long, or at least more recently. He hasn't been super in the limelight. He usually plays more side characters, but I thought he was really good in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think that he's great in The Thing and movies like that. The Hateful Eight, he's good. He does hold it down when it really comes to it. Truth be told, I haven't seen a lot of movies with him in it, even though he's been in a lot. I haven't seen more of his older movies, if I'm being completely frank. So it's hard for me to really put a rating on Kurt Russell, but from what I have seen him in, he has held it down pretty well. So because of that, I think I'm going to be putting him at the B tier. I think that's where he belongs. And finally, the last person on this list, Jack Nicholson, who we're going to be talking about next. Jack Nicholson is the definition of a classic Hollywood actor. He's been in movies like The Shining, Chinatown, The Departed, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, A Few Good Men, etc., etc. This guy has just been around, and let me tell you, he is one of those actors that no matter what film he chooses, it's going to be good, or he's going to hold it down. I think that he had a sort of energy about him. He was a force when the movies like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Shining, and The Departed, an absolute force, effortless acting. I think everything from the look that he had to how he's acting, you can't help but root for the guy. As crazy as some of these characters were, he had this charm and charisma that he had since he's been acting. I think that, truth be told, Jack Nicholson, one of my favorite actors. I think one of the best actors that we've had, to be honest. And I would have loved to see him in more things, honestly. And he was in so many things, but I wish he was still acting today, because I feel like there's so much that some modern directors could do with him as well, along with like people like Quentin Tarantino, which again they've all been working. Martin Scorsese too, more movies with him. They've all been working in the same time, but I really wish he was still acting, Jack Nicholson, to be honest. I believe he did retire a few years back, or he hasn't been acting at all. But again, his track record speaks for himself. Jack Nicholson is an S tier for me. Just an excellent actor. So here you go. This is the first set of actors. Let me know below. You agree, disagree? Love to hear it below. If you like these tier lists, let me know below so I can continue making them. But thank you very much for watching. All the support is appreciated, and I'll catch you on the next part.